Both these teams played in week 1, Eagles and Redskins, but man, have things changed. Both teams have gotten substantially better. We are behind enemy lines. I've got Redskins review. He is back. So it's amazing how things have changed because in week 1, I didn't think the Redskins were any good. And fast forward now, and I think they're a top 4 team in the NFC, basically.
Yeah, for sure. If you go back and you watch the video that we did on week 1, hey, one of the first things I said, remember, I said, hey, the NFC East isn't a joke. Everyone always tries to give us a rough time or whatever, but there's not one dominant team. I came on here on week 1 and said, hey, I'm most worried about the Giants because of what we saw out of that defense last year. The way that defense and that team has just plummeted from last year is crazy. I would have never, ever seen that coming. But everyone doubted the Eagles and the Redskins. Mm-hmm. All the analysts, anyone you see, they doubted the Eagles and the Redskins. They thought the Cowboys are going to run the ball and be how they were last year and just beat up on teams. That's not happening. The Eagles, we don't even need to talk about the Giants. That's just, and then they got so many injuries, man. So but then you're looking at the Eagles and the Redskins. I didn't see the Eagles doing this well. I knew that they were going to be an improved team, but I also thought pretty much every team in this division was going to be improved. Honestly, I think a lot of the offseason moves that anyone in this division has made, we had no one took a step backwards really. Maybe the Cowboys, missing some players on their defense, but yeah, I didn't see the Eagles going 5-1. I knew not to take them lightly. I was worried about the week 1 matchup, but I still thought we were going to win. But that's kind of how the same thing I feel this week. With these NFC East teams, man, it's pretty much any given Sunday. We beat up on each other every single year. It's just kind of what we do in this division.
Yeah, and I was talking with you about this pre-show. The Redskins and the Eagles, they kind of remind me of each other. You've got secondary play, which is kind of where both teams have a weakness. D-line play on both teams is outstanding. You have two coaches with more of an emphasis on running the football. And you got 2 good quarterbacks. Yes, I said it, Philadelphia. Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback. So he's got, 7 touchdowns and 1 interception his last 3 games. He's been on fire, over 100 quarterback rating in each of those. 0 for 5, though, on Monday night, though. Uh-oh!
Yeah, I don't really play into the whole Monday night thing or there's anything different really that goes on. We just we didn't do good in primetime games at all, really, but I don't really see it as like any type of superstition or whatever. I would be more worried about just playing at the Eagles Stadium more than playing on Monday night, to be honest. Yeah. That's just, just a stat. I don't take it as like anything to heart or that they can't just get it done in the prime time or anything like that. They have gotten it done in prime time, just not on Monday night. I don't know, five games or whatever. They've definitely played in some big games and came out on top. Obviously just not on Monday night.
Yeah, I went back and I watched the 49ers game yesterday. I never got to watch it this week, so I finally watched it. And, a lot of Eagles fans, including I was joking about it too, with the squeaking past the Niners thing. But then I watched the game, and it was kind of thorough domination by the Redskins. They kind of let the Niners back in it, but they kind of toyed with them. In my play-by-play scoring, which you guys know about on the Bitter Birds, I had 88-69 Redskins. So in my scoring system, they thoroughly dominated this game. Here's what I want to say. So I feel like when you look at the defensive side of the ball on the Redskins, there are going to be too many injuries for them to overcome the Eagles' offense. That's what it says on paper. So I do think that the Eagles are going to score points and Carson Wentz will kind of have his way a little bit. But at the same time, I think Kirk Cousins is going to rise to the occasion, and I think we're going to see a shootout. Because the way the Redskins get the ball out quick, the way Cousins gets that ball out, that's the recipe for success against the Eagles secondary. So if they do that, I think they'll have a shot. I'm worried about Chris Thompson, especially you're looking at Kendricks and Hicks as questionable for Monday, so we'll see if those guys play. But Thompson, I'm worried about. Jordan Reed, obviously, I'm worried about. He's an Eagles killer. So I think this is going to be a shootout. What do you think?
I think it's also going to come down to defense, really, because this Redskins offense isn't the same offense that played in Week 1. As I was telling you off air, a lot of people give Kirk Cousins shit for certain things. My only real gripe with Kirk Cousins is this is the 3rd year in a row he comes out and starts off the year slow. The Redskins offense was not what we thought they were going to be in the first Eagles game, but we still were in the game at, 2 minutes left. Yeah. We were running a 2-minute drill. We're still in the game somehow. And our offense is much more improved. Now, I think it is going to come down to defense, because I think Jay Gruden and Kirk Cousins are good enough to, even though this Eagles defensive line is really good, I just don't see the trickery that Kirk Cousins and Jay Gruden can come up with are going to be stumped. They're going to find some way to move the ball, and they're going to find some way to score points. So I'm not really worried about the offense. I'm just worried about the defense. And I remember in Week 1 when I was talking to you, you kind of brushed this off when I said, I'm worried about Zach Ertz. And I think you didn't have that much confidence.
That's different time of the year. Now I'm all about Zach.
Yeah, I think you
finally broken out.
When I said that, I was serious. I was like, hey, look, Zach Ertz has done us in a couple times. I'm worried about him. And then I think he had 94 yards versus us in that Week 1 matchup. I was saying it for a reason. I knew it was going to happen, and I'm still worried about it. That's what I'm worried about, is the Redskins being able to cover tight ends, because it's just a first down getter, man. It's just easy to go over the middle with a tight end and get that first down. And if you guys can keep doing that with Carson Wentz scrambling, and then also mix in LeGarrette Blount, that opens up the running game, and that's what we need to crack down on. And we did a good job of stopping the run game in the first game, but if you start making passes to Zach Ertz to get first downs, if Carson Wentz keeps scrambling and we don't get him, you're going to open the run game, and then that's how you finish the game. And that's what I'm worried about, is being in the fourth quarter with LeGarrette Blount running, because we've been completely wide open just by play calling and not stopping Zach Ertz.
Yeah. Here's what I'll say about Ertz, because now stop me if you disagree. I don't think the Redskins linebackers are athletic enough. I really like Zach Brown, but I don't know if he's really a cover guy. And then obviously your safeties are some injuries. So Ertz might have another big game. I think he is going to have another big game.
Yeah. I don't think it's necessarily our individuals' ability to cover tight ends. I think it comes down to scheme, because, we've been playing against any tight end has been, kind of our Achilles heel right now. And it's been that way for a couple of years. Zach Brown I don't know if he would be matched up against Zach Ertz. I don't know what they would be doing, but I would like Zach Brown's chances against anybody. But once you go past Zach Brown, we don't have any other linebackers that are going to cover Zach Ertz, but some of our corners or safeties, maybe. Our guys are going to fight. They're going to compete, but it's just late in the game when you need a first down, and I don't know who's going to be your third down back, but when you send him out and then our linebackers go after him and not Zach Ertz, it's going to be a killer in the third and fourth quarter versus us, man.
Yeah. And then the cornerback spot, you've got Josh Norman. So they ruled him out today, correct?
Yeah.
With the rib injury. And then Bashaud Breeland what did they rule it? An MCL sprain? Is that what they said?
Yeah, it's just a sprain. Actually, like I said, when I watched the game and I saw the hit that he took, even a lot of other Redskins fans, it straight up it looks very similar to someone just destroying their ACL. And that's what it looks like. But then I know Breeland's a really tough guy, just like Josh Norman. If he could play, he would play and stuff like that. It's all going to come down to doctors, saying if they can play or not. But It's just kind of funny because we all thought, man, we might be out. Rashad Breeland might be out the entire year after this. And then Jay Gruden goes up there to the podium like the next week or whatever and was like, hey, Breeland, he's so tough. Like he nicknamed him Gumby. He's like, how are your leg going, moving, your knee getting pushed over like that? And this guy might even play on Monday night. Like this guy is straight up Gumby, like on the football field.
Yeah, and we were talking about that pre-show as well. We don't think he should play. I think that's it's not. I don't know what I would do. It's a really tough decision. It's going to come down to the coaches and what they have. I'm sure the coaches won't tell you this, but I'm sure they're going to look down the schedule and say, hey, we're going to need him for this, and this. Why risk him versus one game versus the Eagles? Sure, if the Eagles beat us again, they go up on us 2-0, and then if it comes down to a tiebreaker or something like that, to see who makes the playoffs or wins the East or whatever down the road, they got us on that. And obviously that's what makes this such a big game. But, we have the depth. Do we have the depth to come in and beat the 5-1 Eagles at cornerback? I'm not sure about that. So that's why it's so hard to sit here and think about, should we play Breeland or not? But I don't know. It's something we would have to talk to Breeland about. Hey, how good are you? Are you ready to go? And see what he actually says, because I'm sure he's not going to lie. I'm sure he's not going to. I'm sure he knows he doesn't want to injure himself further. Yeah. Now the question now is, let's talk about the depth then. So Quentin Dunbar is one guy. I like him a little bit. I mean, we talked about him, and then you're looking at some rookies. Fabian Moreau, third-round pick out of UCLA.
And then Joshua Hosley. You'll probably see him at times too.
Yeah. So what do you think they're going to do? Who do you think starts then?
Oh, yeah. Well, already, if Breeland's going to play, he's our number one guy. He's going to be going up against Jeffrey, I guess, is your number one. And yet again, just like the whole Josh Norman thing, I like Breeland on Jeffrey, man. Like, I think both those guys could have their way, man. I think both those guys are extremely physical. I think Breeland might even do a better job versus him than Norman did, which I didn't think Norman was going to do that great in the first game. But now it also comes down to health, man. If Breeland's out there playing half speed, you know what I mean? Like, but besides that, they already said Dunbar is going to be the number 2. He was the number 2 last game versus the 49ers, and he played pretty phenomenal. Probably his best game that he's ever played, seeing that he's a converted wide receiver. Just because our team had so much depth at wide receiver, Jay Gruden says, hey, Dunbar, we've seen you on special teams and you blocking guys. You're probably not going to see the field as a wide receiver. Do you want to try playing corner? Do you think you can, you already know the routes. Do you think you can go out there and play man coverage or whatever? And I think that's where he excels at. I think where we're going to see issues, if you watch the 49ers game, at the end of the game when they needed to come make a comeback, Fabian Moreau and Joshua Hosley, they had miscommunication and gave Algic Robinson like a 45-yard touchdown, which let them back into the game at the very end. And that's what I'm saying. 2 rookies on the field. That's what I'm worried about. I like both those guys' abilities, but it comes down to communication. Having the rookies out there instead of having Josh Norman and Rashad Breeland out there on the field, it's going to be much different, and what plays we can call. Yeah.
See, I'm curious about Alshon Jeffrey, and if this is the game he finally breaks out. Because you look at all the corners that he's faced elite corners every week until last week. So I'll kind of just run it down real quick. So Norman, Marcus Peters, week 2. You had Janoris Jenkins week 3, Casey Hayward week 4, week 5. Who am I missing? I'm missing somebody. Patrick Peterson. And then it got a little easier with Carolina. It was James Bradbury. He had 4 receptions for 71 yards. So you have another situation here where there's going to be no Josh Norman.
Mm-hmm.
It is. I mean, Rashad Breeland is. He's no slouch. I think he's a solid.
He's very underrated. He had a bad year last year, but if you watch him the year before that, and you watch him all this year, before he got hurt, that's why it sucked so bad to see him get hurt, and it looked like he tore his ACL last game, and everyone was just like, damn, this guy's having almost a Pro Bowl-like season. If you really go back and watch, him and Norman have been just shutting people down, man, and that's why I was so concerned about watching him and his knee go like that. And also, it's still concerned about him now. Does he play or not? Because, hey, he might not play this game, but then he's healthy to go next week and continue playing at a high level instead of throwing him in here just because we need this game so much or whatever midway through the season. You know, it's a game that we must have midway through the season, you know?
Yeah. And I think that this is a game Alshon kind of feasts, but we'll see. We'll see.
I don't know, man. I think I'm much more worried about Carson Wentz and Zach Ertz. That's really my only two. That's my only two.
Who's your slot guy? Who's your nickel?
Kendall Fuller. He's solid.
Oh,
he might actually, you know what? Oh, no, yeah, because they already said, okay, so yeah, Kendall Fuller is going to be on the field as well. Kendall, he got moved to the outside as our number one or number two last week versus the 49ers. He played pretty well also. This has been his best year as well. Like I said, the depth that we've had guys getting hurt and guys just coming in and playing well, but still, I'm still worried. Like, you know, this is the 5-1 Eagles. I'm worried about Carson Wentz scrambling. Him and Alex Smith have killed us this year. Any quarterback that is basically just a pocket guy. That's why we were beating up on Brian Hoyer in the 49ers game. But then what do? They put in C.J. Beathard, some rookie. But what's the difference between him and Brian Hoyer? That guy's a young guy, and he can move out of the pocket, and he can extend plays. And that's how they got back into the game. And that's what the Redskins defense has me worried, is against quarterbacks who can extend plays.
Yeah, that's a good point. A really good point there. The reason why I asked about the slot corner, for whatever reason, Nelson Aguilar is on steroids.
Yeah, it's his best year for sure.
Yeah, I can't believe it. We're all in shock in Philadelphia. We can't believe it. But he's been looking great, and keep it going for him. All right, so kind of focusing our attention. We'll talk about Jonathan Allen real quick, and then we'll kind of move on to something else. But Jonathan Allen down, out for the year. Liz Frank injury. Actually, no. Actually, he's not out for the year. They said he might come back, actually.
Yeah, well, first they said 3 to 4 weeks, and then they started saying, no, that's a pretty serious injury. It's probably going to be for the season. And then Jay Gruden said he thinks he'll come back this year. Also, I think he's going to come back this year. This guy is pretty tough, man. If he can come back and play, I'm sure he's going to. And he's young. I just don't see him being stopped. This guy works. He's got a crazy motor. I'm sure if he can come back this year, he will be back on the field at some point this year. Yeah. Also, another thing I got to throw in there, which our field goal kicker, Dustin Hopkins, just got put on IR.
Oh, wow.
And we just got a rookie kicker who hasn't kicked one kick in the NFL, Nick Rose. He came out of Texas, the Longhorns. So that the game might come down to 3 points. And our kicker, we haven't seen him do anything. We just signed him this week. So that's hey, we could be sitting here talking about all these matchups, Zach Ertz or Jordan Reed or Nelson Aguilar or Carson Wentz scrambling. All that might not mean anything. It might come down to our new field goal kicker who is unknown. We haven't seen him do anything. So,
well, our field goal kicker is a god.
No, Dustin Hopkins is good. He's solid, but he's hurt, man. You know, he did miss the extra point last week, which kind of screwed us over.
True, yeah.
But he might have been, hurt. I don't know. Yeah. So that sucks. But ever since we've had him, he's been really solid. So I had faith in our kicker too up until now.
Well, Eagles were in that situation, that same situation. Jake Elliott came in, missed his first field goal attempt from like 30 yards out. He missed, I believe, an extra point in the same game. So he struggled. And then Jason Peters basically told him to stop missing. In a PG way. He basically said, no more misses, dude. And Jake Elliott has not missed since Jason Peters went and pulled him aside and was like, no more. So obviously hit the 60-yard field goal. So, wow, 61-yard field goal. and he's been automatic ever since. So maybe that'll happen with the Redskins.
I guess that must have given him the confidence boost, Yeah,
dude, it's unbelievable because he struggled in Cincinnati during the preseason. He was a 5th-round pick out of Memphis, and he had a case of the hooks, and then he had a case of the hooks to start in Philly. Actually, we all wanted him cut after his first kick, actually. No lie. Yeah. I went and said it. I don't care. I'm humble enough to admit my wrongs, not unlike other people. But started making everything, and now it's unbelievable.
Yep. Right. Also about the Jonathan Allen injury, we talked about this off camera as well. I'm not extremely worried about Jonathan Allen being out, more so than Josh Norman being out. We have more guys that we could plug in the middle of the defense. We have big guys. I just don't see them collapse in the pocket like Jonathan Allen used to. But I see them coming in and playing well, stopping the run, I hope. So, I don't think there's going to be huge drop-off with Jonathan Allen being out of the game. He's been playing well this year, but he hasn't, he's not going to the Pro Bowl or nothing, so.
You guys are getting really, really good defensive line play. And, there's a guy on your team from Temple that I'm really high on. What are your thoughts on Matt Ioannidis?
He's definitely the most improved Redskin there is, for sure. I like him. Last year he did not impress me at all.
I'm with you there.
He was average at best. Mm-hmm. But there's so many surprises on this defense. And this defense, they were ranked like 30th last year. Right now, I don't know what they're ranked, but probably within the top 15 or something at least. They're probably the top something. And just having that much a jump on one offseason is crazy. And it's got to be because of the coaches that we brought in. Jim Tomsula, working with Matt Ioannidis, most improved Redskin there is on this football team. He was just absent last year. He didn't do anything to make anyone remember his name at all. He was just a guy they brought in to try to stop the run. He couldn't do it. And this year, like you said, it's outstanding. He's the biggest player on our defensive line. And even with Jonathan Allen out now, I hope we continue to rotate him in and out effective, like smartly, and not just, hey, now we're down a guy on the defensive line, let's have more Matt Ioannidis. No, I think what we've been doing, got to continue it. Don't scramble and try to keep him out on the field too long and have him get tired or something like that. Keep using him the way we've been using him. Okay. Collapse the pocket.
Yeah. All right. So do you think you guys can stop the Eagles' run game?
Yeah, I do. But like I said, in week one, I really wasn't worried about the Eagles' run game at all. Like, I just brushed it off, and they didn't really do much. But I am much more worried this go around, just because of the confidence that this team has now, just because of the injuries on the Redskins defense. Jonathan Allen, like I said, just because we have good depth, but now that we have to use it, it just brings in more factors into the game. And I'm sure LeGarrette Blount, if we let Zach Ertz and other Nelson Aguilar have a good game or whatever, it's just going to open up the run game, and that could be the dagger for us in the second half of the game. If they get the run game going in the first half, then hell yeah, obviously anyone would be worried. But I don't see that happening. I see the run game opening up in the second half if we can't stop and contain Carson Wentz, and they just continue to get first down somehow. And then if you don't run the football, then I'm sure all the Eagles fans are going to be pissed off at that point.
Yeah, trust me. We will. So, because in that opener, like you were kind of talking about, 24 carries for just 58 yards. And ever since that opening game, the Eagles have eclipsed the 100-yard mark in each game since. They even did in week 2 when they didn't even get LeGarrette Blount one carry. That still baffles me to this day. Doug Peterson did not let him run the ball in that game, but okay.
I would like to find out with that stat, them reaching 100 yards. in those games, do they have more yards in the second half or the first half? I would like to figure that out. I'm sure it's, we're not going to be able to figure that out right now, but that's something I would like to find out. Because like I said, that's when I'm going to be worried about the run game is in the second half of the game. Just when our defense is worn down. LeGarrette Blount is a big ass dude. He's waiting for that moment to get the ball in the second half.
Yeah, if I had to guess, I would say yes. Because I do chart things, and I believe. I mean, LeGarrette Blount definitely gets better as the game goes along. That's. Yeah. I don't know about the other guys per se, but I do think that they do run the ball more in the second half because they build a lead in the first half.
Yeah, exactly.
Second half, because the last game they played. Actually, I think it was the Cardinals game. They threw the ball 18 times in the first half, ran it only 8. And then in the second half, a lot more runs.
And then they took away, and they just blew off with the lead. And then,
Yep. So that's kind of what Doug wants to do at his core: throw the ball early and then run the ball to seal it.
Yeah.
That's
Jay Gruden wants to throw the ball anytime he can throw the ball.
You got two coaches that have the similar mindset, but both are having balance
of guys. They of course they want to make everyone happy and have balance, but in NFL now it's just too easy to throw and get first downs and scores.
Yeah. Do you know who I'm really, really worried about? I don't know. Have I said it on the air yet? I don't know if I said it on the air or it was just before the show. But Chris Thompson is going to give us fits.
I'm sure everyone in the NFL is worried about Chris Thompson.
Chris Thompson is so underrated. Eagles fans should be scared of this guy. He's ridiculously good, especially if Hicks and Kendricks don't play. If these guys really are questionable and don't play, we'll see. I have to look more into this Kendricks thing. But the way Kendricks flies around, goes sideline to sideline, I think he's a guy that can combat with Thompson because they like to throw the screens and the stuff in the flats, all that. But if he's out and guys don't play, all of a sudden I think Thompson's going to have a really big game. I think he's going to have a big game as it is. And when I watch you guys block the screen, Trent Williams is unbelievable. Holy shit. He's like 20 yards downfield. Just hold up.
Yeah, last game
block the screen.
Yeah, last game. That's the thing is just it's so crazy watching the Redskins offense at times. I think it might have. I'm not sure the distance, but I think in like the 49ers game, it's like 3rd and 19 or something. Hey, just throw a screen pass to Chris Thompson and he gets it all back. It's like, was it really that easy? Did they not see on 3rd and 19 Chris Thompson's on the field? Like do they not watch some of the other games this year? Do they not know that they're going to give the ball to Chris Thompson and they just couldn't stop him? It's just so crazy, like how good the guy is. He's so shifty.
Yeah. I'm trying to see if I can. I'm not going to be able to find it in time because I can't read my writing. But I know I made notes because there were 2 screens where you guys got like 30 yards, I think.
Yeah. One was longer than that. Yeah, the one it's like 3rd and 17 or something, and it's just like give the ball to Chris Thompson. He's going to get the first down, 30 yards or something like that.
I hate the 3rd and long screen call by Doug Peterson. It never works. But when other teams do it, it seems to work.
Yeah, I mean, I always get nervous. If we throw a screen, anytime I'm not really a screen guy. Like when you throw the ball laterally like that, it worries me, you know what I'm saying? But somehow the Redskins pull it off. And like you said, we got blockers who want to block downfield. Our offensive line's not the greatest in the run game. They get beat off the ball a lot in the run game. They're good at pass protection, but when you isolate them on screens and stuff like that and get them downfield and they get to block a corner, they love that shit.
Yeah, that's very true. The reason why I'm looking at my notes, I'm trying to find who the other guys that were blocking well on those screens, but that's why I was.
I'm sure Brandon Sheriff is.
Brandon Sheriff is a beast. I love your line. I love your line.
I like him, and Sean Loval. He's been the one. Sean Loval's been the weak link for the past couple of years. Yeah. The first year that we got him, he was pretty outstanding. But then he got injured that year and then was out for the rest of the year. And ever since, he hasn't gone back to that. But he's been having a decent year. And like I said, he was our weakest link. And if you had to ask a Redskins fan about the offensive line, they'd be like, get rid of Sean Loval. He's our weak link. And he's been playing pretty well, so can't complain.
Another similarity between the teams. These teams are really similar. People don't want to.
Yeah, I agree.
Two great O-lines. So
yep.
This is a top 4 team in the NFC, Philadelphia. You don't want to hear it.
Yeah, I like our chances to compete, man. Any single week, that's what's been so crazy. How we were talking about earlier, how Terrell Pryor hasn't been the guy or whatever. But the thing is, Kirk Cousins just spreads the ball out so well, and this offense just finds a way to move down the field. And people say, oh, Jamison Crowder's awesome. He's a beast. Why hasn't he been having a good year? Because he hasn't had to have a good year, because Kirk Cousins spreads the ball out and just moves the ball downfield somehow, spreading the ball around. It's just – I like our ability to move the football. Even, like I said, even against a good Eagles defensive line, even if they're very disruptive or something, I'm sure if we come out and our offense is flat and we don't score any points in this game, I'm going to be stunned. I'm sure we can score, but it comes down to defensive play, how many injuries we have, if we can contain Carson Wentz, really.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if the Eagles' pressure can get to Kirk Cousins, because 4 sacks in week 1. Obviously, the Eagles' kryptonite is that quick passing game. So if you get the ball out quick, it will mitigate the pressure. So I am curious to see if they can get the pressure again. I don't know if they will.
Well, I didn't think that they would be getting that good of pressure in week 1, but now our offensive line's been playing a lot better.
Yeah.
But also going back to the pressure, in week 1, Kirk Cousins threw that one interception when he had a free rusher coming up the middle. He threw an interception in the red zone. So Kirk Cousins hasn't been really sacked that much this year, but it's going to be curious if the Eagles do get pressure on him like they did in week 1. Is Kirk Cousins going to be the same guy throwing an interception in the red zone because he got a free rusher in his face, or is he going to be better? Who knows?
Yeah,
he hasn't been tested like that. He's had to take off and run with the ball more this year, but he hasn't really been getting sacked like crazy. I guess that's probably the game he's been sacked the most, I guess, was week 1 then.
Yeah. Because I'll say this, if he gets the time, I think he will pick the Eagles corners apart. Now, corners have played well for the Eagles for the most part, but this is just a little bit of a different animal, I think. See, people may not believe me because I think the mindset is that Kirk Cousins stinks. I think that's what people think, but yeah, I like him now. I don't know. I've gone 180, 360, whatever you want to say. 2 years ago, I thought he stunk. Beginning of the year, I was like, okay, he's like average, but he's good. Now I'm like, man, he's like almost fringe top 10 now for me. So it comes down to Kirk Cousins, I think, for the Redskins. I think he has to have a really, really big game because I do think the Eagles are going to score points.
Yeah.
But I think he's going to have a good game. I know that 0 for 5 on Monday night thing, but this is a game where he knows he has to rise to the occasion. This is a huge kind of you want to make your money, Kirk. This is the game.
Yeah, I think he's going to get paid no matter what. I
agree with that.
I think if he played horrible the rest of the entire season, I think next year he's gonna still get paid buku bucks, man. Like he's already proved it. He's already done above and beyond what he needs to prove that he can be a franchise quarterback in this league. And yeah, he's getting better. We talked about this off camera as well. I understand a lot of people when they first saw Kirk Cousins, he was an interception machine. He threw the ball, but that's because we tried to make him be Superman. We tried to make him do everything. And for a long time, he was doing everything. And the past couple of years, we haven't had a run game. We had people fumbling the ball. He had our running back had more fumbles than touchdowns and stuff like that. We didn't have a run game, and we still have a borderline basic average run game. Chris Thompson's really the only thing that spices up our run game. If he comes in the game, it changes things, but our run game's still not the best. And the only thing the past couple of years, we haven't had a defense either. And Kirk Cousins has done everything he's done up until now without a defense, without a good run game. He's had some weapons, Jordan Reed and stuff like that. Jordan Reed doesn't even stay healthy. He's good, man. Like, I don't, there's so many people, even Redskins fans today, who just can't admit it or don't see it. And I don't understand how. I'm one of those people who I knew right from the get-go. I knew right from the get-go that this guy, he was going to be something different, special. I think he's going to be special, man. He still learns. He still gets better. He's now more confident. If you watch some of like the stuff from the game, like the sound effects or whatever, he's getting into people's ass and shit now, like other players and stuff. Like, he's gotten that leadership role that he didn't used to have, and he's just become more mature. He's been in the same system with Jay Gruden now. That's probably one of the biggest things is he has a system. He has Jay Gruden to just keep getting better, and he's gonna keep getting better. And that's where this kind of goes. Is even a lot of Redskins fans at first they didn't think he was gonna be anything. Still don't want to deny it, or they still want to deny it that he's good. And then they obviously don't think he's gonna get any better, but he will. He will. Even if next year Kirk Cousins goes to a different team or whatever, Kirk Cousins is going to be around for a long time, man.
Yeah, like I was saying earlier, 7 touchdowns, 1 interception in the last 3 games, quarterback rating of 100+ the last 3 games. And what I'm seeing is some pretty good qualities. So you're looking at a situation, you kind of talked about it. No Pierre Garçon, no Deshaun Jackson. Terrell Pryor kind of hasn't been as good as advertised, even though there's still kind of that chemistry thing going on.
Yep.
So you're looking at a situation where, okay, all new wide receivers, and he's just going out there, he's spreading the ball around. The ball placement has been really good. And then the last game, I know it's the Niners, I know their defense isn't the best, but I only wrote down like 2 bad throws, 2 bad decisions.
Yeah.
It came actually on back-to-back passes where he
threw the one interception that guy dropped. He didn't actually catch it. And that's the thing is, like, even if you watch the sound effects of him talking or whatever, Jay Gruden and Kirk Cousins, they're now getting better. And now that we had that lead, it was like, 17-0 at that point or whatever, or around that or whatever. And they're like, hey, let's throw the ball downfield. Let's keep our foot on the gas. Like, they're changing their momentum now. They're getting more confident. And basically the 2 plays back to back, they're just airing the ball out downfield. They want to keep the foot on the gas pedal. And it came to bite us some. They got a turnover, but it's kind of like a punt too. Like, he threw the ball like 40, 50 yards downfield. Like, so he's just much better with his with what he does with the football, man.
He's earning my respect. He's doing it, and I'm not afraid to admit wrong. For the year.
Yeah.
I said Nelson Aguilar stinks. Wrong about him. Zach Ertz, wrong about him. Doug Peterson, wrong about him. I don't give a fuck. I know that I'm smart. I'm okay. I can admit defeat. It's okay. And I feel like some of you guys in Washington, the RG3 lovers that can't get past that, can't admit that he's a good quarterback.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I've been a Redskins fan for a long time, and this whole Kirk Cousins situation really it makes me understand that even though I go to football games and, you go out there and you tailgate with fans and everything like that, it's just like you think everyone is like a good fan when you're around them and you meet them or whatever. But this whole Kirk Cousins situation, still being up in 3 years now, he's been our starting quarterback, and there's still people out there that are just like, that guy's garbage. Don't pay him money. He wants this money or whatever. It's not even his fault that he could earn as much money. We could have paid him $18 million a couple of years ago, and I'm sure he would have been happy with it. But now that he wants $20+ million because we kept telling him he's not worth it, we did it to ourselves. But there's still now those fans who are like, he's not worth that. And it's like, well, he is, though, because he could get paid that somewhere else, and he's backed it up. He's backed it up 3 years in a row, and there's still just those fans that are like, nah, we could be fine with somebody else. And it's like, who? You know, they're like, who are we? Colt McCoy.
That's very naive to think that you.
Colt McCoy. Like, I like Colt McCoy is a damn good backup, but you'll find out real quick when you put him in the game. He ain't Kirk Cousins, man.
Yeah. All right, so we'll kind of. I'll ask you this before we kind of get into predictions. What are you worried about most in this game?
I'm not extremely worried about the Eagles' defense. Like I said, we'll find a way to score points. I'm worried about the same exact things that I was worried about in Week 1. I'm worried about containing Carson Wentz. Don't let him get out of the pocket. When we get our hands on him, get him down to the ground. And then Zach Ertz. Those are the same two things. I'm not extremely worried about the run game. I'm not extremely worried about Torrey Smith. Or any of the wide receivers. If those guys get open, they get open, but they're only going to get open when Carson Wentz scrambles. That's when the Redskins defense breaks down. And did I think the Redskins defense was going to be this good this year? No, I didn't think they would. But they've been pretty solid all year. And the only time they have breakdowns or whatever is when we play quarterbacks who go off schedule, guys who can extend plays with their legs. Alex Smith and Carson Wentz, guys who scramble. They'll get out. If there's nothing there, they will buy time. And then that is when our defense has been poor. And that's what worries me. If we can continue to get pressure on them, I think we have a good chance in this game. It's really going to come down to, can we contain Carson Wentz and Zach Ertz? Like I said, we're notorious for not stopping tight ends. I was worried about him in the first game, justifiably so. Still worried about him right now. Those are my top two things we got to stop. Yeah.
To me, it's just kind of simple like this. I feel like the Eagles are going to score more than 30 points. And Kirk Cousins keep up. That's the way I'm kind of looking at it. I really think this is going to be a shootout. I might be wrong.
Yeah.
But my prediction is 34-30 Eagles. That's where I'm going. I think Wentz
really
and Kirk have a tool.
It's really hard. If this team was completely decimated with injuries, like I would, with the Eagles being 5-1, I would have to say, okay, we might lose this one. But just the resiliency that I've seen out of this team and this defense. If you look at the Kansas City game where Josh Norman gets hurt, our safety Monte Nicholson gets hurt, all these guys we have rookies coming in on the field and they're playing like there's no drop off. And that's, like I said, this defense has been so crazy this year. So even just because we do have these injuries, I just can't doubt them. Like, until I see a couple of games where we do have these backups in and they don't perform well, then I might doubt them. But up until now, they've been pretty solid. So I just can't stray away from saying that they might get the job done.
Yeah. I'm certainly kind of worried about this game. I don't.
I mean, I am too, man. I mean, I'm worried about pretty much our entire schedule this year.
Yeah. Sorry for cutting you off there a little bit. I was just going to say, I feel like Philadelphia is definitely not. I don't want to say looking ahead, but they definitely don't think Washington is good as they are.
Yeah. I would say, I mean, Redskins fans didn't think the Eagles were going to be as good as they were in Week 1. Or as of now. And another thing is, I'm sure there's probably going to be some Redskins fans that see this and get pissed at me saying something like this, but if the Redskins don't win the NFC East this year, I'm happy that the Eagles do it. I don't want the Cowboys to win. I don't want the Giants to win. I don't want any one team to be on top for a certain period of time. I want to keep this a revolving door until the Redskins are the ones who are on top and get that top spot. You know what I'm saying? So even if we lose this game, even if it goes throughout the year and then the Eagles win the NFC East, I'm somewhat happy that it's not the Cowboys, and it's not the Cowboys year in, year out just running the ball at Ezekiel Elliott and just getting 12 wins a year or whatever, and then they become some type of powerhouse. That's what I don't want. Some powerhouse within the division. So that's another thing. Take that, however you want to. I'm sure some people might get pissed off at me saying something like that. Just saying, oh, if the Redskins, you don't think the Redskins are going to do it. I think we'll find a way into the playoffs this year.
Yeah, I think so too. And I'm biased, obviously, so I'm going to say the Eagles are going to win the NFC East. But I'll tell you what, I don't want to play the Redskins in a playoff game. I wouldn't want to play them.
Yeah, man.
I would be more scared to play them in the divisional round than other teams.
Yeah, man, for sure. This year's been a pretty crazy year, even with it, just for the NFL in general and injuries, man. It's a couple injuries away, and so one team season. Look at the Green Bay Packers; I don't see them doing much anymore. It's just one injury. Every team's like a couple injuries away, and things will be turned upside down. So, the Eagles are 5-1 right now. Obviously, if you're a betting man, you would want to put your money there for them winning the NFC East. But, obviously, the Giants being 1-5 or something like that. Can't rule out the Cowboys either, man.
No.
They could get hot.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so you got a final prediction? You got a score? You're struggling.
Yeah,
I'm struggling too, dude. I'm scared and confident at the same time. I don't know what to think.
It's so many factors. Like I said, it would be kind of a nightmare for this to come down to our new kicker, this guy Nick Rose, a guy who has, he's been on practice squads places, but he hasn't played in an NFL game. I'm worried about that. I do think it's going to be a scoring game, but I think with our defenses, man, they might. We're sitting here, doubting both of our defenses. I know, right? So they might show up and they might. I think it's so hard to sit here and think about what's going to happen because we could be sitting here. I'm sitting here saying I think Kirk Cousins is going to move the ball and score points. The Carson Wentz is going to scramble and find open receivers and score points. And it's like we could both be extremely wrong, and both of our defenses could come out and just manhandle each other's offense. Like that's what's so crazy about this game. Yeah. It's definitely one of the hardest to predict, man. So I'm just gonna out of a gut feeling, I don't think it's gonna be over 30 points for either team. So I'll take the Redskins 27-24, just because, like I said, if this was a couple years ago and we were in the same predicament, I don't know if I'd be able to take the Redskins, but seeing that we have this many injuries, but the guys who have come in and now it's their time to shine, they've shined up until now. So until I see them not shine for a couple games in a row, I just can't doubt them. I can't say they can't find a way to get it done.
Yeah. The over-under, I believe, is like 49. So 724 would be 51. So you're more inclined to, you're more near the number than I am.
Yeah.
I just feel like I just got a gut feeling that we're going to see a lot of points. I could be wrong.
And that's the thing. Is like
that's a lot of points.
In the second half, someone could be up big at halftime and then, just take away with it in the second half. Who knows, man? This is probably for sure one of the hardest games to predict up until now throughout the season for like any teams. If you match any teams together, it's so hard to predict what the score would. This is probably one of the hardest games to predict, man, because both defenses are solid as it could be at times. Offense find a way to score. I mean, there's no drop off. I guess the one drop off is that I keep bringing up is our field goal kicker. Maybe that's what's going to bog us down, not having field goals to keep up with you guys.
Yeah, could be, but I'll just say this to kind of close. Again, like I feel like Philadelphia is overlooking the Redskins. It's because we already beat them once, and now we got them. So, but by no means would it shock me if the Redskins won. I think it would shock a lot of other people in Philadelphia, but it wouldn't shock me.
Yeah, I agree. And that's the thing is, I know, man, going into that game, I know the Eagles fans, they've been waiting for this, they've been waiting to go in to that game and cheer and be loud and versus the Redskins. But man, just watching us go into Kansas City and just go up on them 10-0 and just see how quiet that place got. That's what I am absolutely hoping happens. I hope we start off fast and just get the momentum of the fans out of it because, like I said, Eagles fans have been waiting for this, man, to actually have something like this to cheer for. And I'm sure when they show up, they're going to be going hard. So we can't, from start to end, man, we got to go fast and not let off the gas.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so you got any final thoughts about the game before we depart?
Not really, man. Like I said, just reiterate Zach Ertz and Carson Wentz. That's what I'm worried about. Carson Wentz getting out of the pocket, finding a way to extend drives. And then, yeah, I know you want to say that you like Alshon Jeffrey, and I like Alshon. I liked Alshon Jeffrey his entire career. I liked him, but I just don't see the wide receiver core. They might have a couple big plays on us. Torrey Smith might get one on us, but I just don't see them dominating. Like I think a lot of Eagles fans are gonna expect, like they've probably been doing to some other teams. I just think this defense has too much pride to let that happen. But they, Joshua Holsey and Fabian Moreau might be on the field at the same time, and they've probably never played together, except for last week. So I'm excited, man. Tomorrow watching all these other games, it's going to be nice to relax on a Sunday and just watch games and not have to be worried about watching on Sunday. It's fun to watch other teams and see a team get destroyed or something like that, or a trick play happening and be like, whatever, without having to think, the Redskins play later. Some shit like that might happen to us. We have to wait all the way until Monday to see what happens.
Yeah, we got that off Sunday last week. We've had 11 days without football is difficult, and then in 2 more weeks after this, the Eagles are going to have a
played Thursday against the Panthers. Damn, you guys got extra time to game plan and shit.
See, in Philadelphia, you look at it that way. I look at it as
you had a short week to play the Panthers.
Well, no, I actually look at it like this. All right, so before that Panthers game, the Eagles were underdogs. Nobody were kind of giving them respect. Now, all of a sudden, people are saying the Eagles are the best team in the NFC. I've heard a lot of people say this. So now, all of a sudden, the narrative has changed. And, I am actually very glad that they're playing the Redskins because you can't have a letdown in this game. So I've been kind of preaching this all week. Now all of a sudden, you got Carson Wentz in the MVP discussion, all this stuff. How do they come out? It's different now.
Yeah.
They're being looked at as a favorite.
And that's what the Redskins have been doubted all year too, man. And now finally some people are waking up and,
they're still doubting you, trust me.
Oh yeah, I know they are. One of the other Redskins YouTubers, they were like, have you seen the commercial for the Monday Night Football? They don't say a goddamn word about the Redskins. They talk about the Eagles the entire time, about running off with the NFC East and what their sights on the playoffs and shit like that. And they at the end, they're like, the Eagles versus the Redskins. That's the only one time they even mentioned the Redskins in the commercial for this game. But I think our game versus the Chiefs and how well we played versus the Chiefs, I think that did open some people's eyes that, hey, this Redskins team with the defense being improved, some people do have some respect for us now. But either way, I think this game it's going to be another one of those good games. I think, like I said before, I think the NFC East doesn't get the credit that they deserve. And I think this is going to be a game where a lot of people, it's Monday night game. Every other fans are going to be watching. I think coming out of this game, they're going to be respecting both these teams probably.
Yeah. I mean, I've been impressed by the Redskins. You went and beat the Rams on the road. The Rams are being looked at with higher regard now.
They've been scoring 30-something every single week, 40-something every week.
You guys ran the ball all over them.
Yeah.
I watched that game. You guys attacked the edges. You did a great job doing that. You beat the Raiders at home.
Destroyed the Raiders. And that was with Derek Carr. I know they lost to Baltimore or whatever without Derek Carr. It's like, I wish we got to play without Derek Carr, man.
And then the Chiefs game. The Chiefs game, which I had in my play-by-play scoring system, I actually had a tie, 74.
Yeah, it was close. And then we just saw and like I said, the Raiders lost a couple games there, and people thought, oh, the Raiders might not be that same team or whatever. But then we just saw the Raiders and the Chiefs play, and that was an awesome game, and the Raiders came out on top. So I think, a lot of people are going to say, oh, the Redskins manhandled the Raiders, but they're not the same team. But then we just saw them play the Chiefs, who undoubtedly the Chiefs are one of the best teams in the NFL, and they both went up head-to-head. Now, granted, it's in the same division, and, rivals, play better versus each other than they do normally in teams outside of their conference and everything. But that was a hell of a game, and the Raiders came out on top of that one without Marshawn Lynch. So I think, and then, man, our schedule is so brutal, dude. The next 5 games.
I just looked at it.
The next 5 games we play, all 4 teams have winning records right now. Like, we coming into this season, we had the 7th hardest schedule. I'm not sure with the Eagles, but I mean, we're playing a lot of the same teams, so I'm sure the Eagles have a pretty hard schedule too. Actually, I looked at the Eagles schedule earlier, and man, if you guys get past us, 49ers, the 49ers, they're better than they seem. They stay in games, but that should be a win. And then just looking at some of I had it up earlier. The Broncos, you might have to be worried about some, but there's not. The schedule looks pretty nice for the Eagles, man.
Nicely for the Eagles.
I think some of your toughest football is already. You guys played it.
I said before the year, I was like, the first 6 games are incredibly difficult. If they can go 3-3, I'll be happy. They went 5-1.
Yeah.
So I'm feeling great because the schedule does get easier. And Redskins, you look at your next 4 opponents after the Eagles. Cowboys at home, at Seattle, Minnesota at home, at New Orleans. That is brutal.
Yeah, New Orleans scores points. I don't think their defense is still that good, but they put 50 points or something last week? Like, god damn, dude. And then Seattle. I mean, the Seahawks, they're not the same team, I don't think, that they've been. But still, you got to go to Seattle and play, man. Like, you got to go there and play. It's going to be another tough game. And Cowboys, NFC East business, man. Like, anything goes. It could go either way. Those games are tough, man. So we need this win versus the Eagles. We need to try to do something within our division. And then I think we don't even play the Cowboys, or we don't play the Giants until, like, how we played the Eagles like twice already within the first couple weeks. We play the Giants like twice at the very end of our schedule. It's like, shit, by then they might have their shit together, Like, they might be winning games at the end of the season, and that's when we got to play the Giants. We don't get to play the Giants now, the 1-5 Giants. We have to play the 5-5 Giants or something,
November 23rd.
5-8 Giants or something.
November 23rd is the first time you play the Giants. Thursday night game.
And they might have their goddamn shit figured out. You know what I'm saying? Like, goddamn it.
A lot better last week.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's about when you play opponents, when you play them. I mean, shit. We'll see what they –
And that's another thing is, like, when I looked at the schedule before the season, I was like, man, this is brutal. But, man, if we make it through this, if we play these games and we make it to the playoffs, dude, we deserve that shit. We had a tough road, and I'm sure that's just going to shape us,
Yeah. All right, so we'll end it about here. We're just about an hour in. How about that? Goes quick, huh?
Yep.
Yeah. All right, with that being said, that's Redskins Review. Make sure you subscribe to him on YouTube. Do it, because he's pretty damn good at what he does. There's a reason why he's on here. I'm Adrian Fedcube, so take care, guys. Go Eagles! Hail to the Redskins, huh?
Yep.